Beyond the whole story, let me tell you about China's real estate crisis that is getting worse by the day. The world's second largest economy is witnessing low home sales, record unemployment, unfinished projects and unpaid loans. Let me give you some context first. China's economy depends heavily on real estate, accounting for as much as 30% of its GDP. Real estate accounts for about 70% of people's wealth in China, and home buyers often pay upfront for unfinished projects. However, the property space continues to see a historic downturn that first began with the collapse of the second largest real estate developer, Evergrande, that defaulted on its debt in 2021. It was known for selling homes at a low margin and had a debt of $300 billion. As per the latest data, new home sales by China's 100 biggest developers dropped by 33% in July from a year ago. Now, the latest major industry player to get into trouble is Country Garden, which is privately owned and was ranked number 1 by sales. It has missed payment on 2 US dollar denominated bonds. Its shares have dropped 16% since Tuesday. It is not a defaulter yet, but this development puts the spotlight on how many developers in China have accumulated massive debt and are unable to pay back. Now, what are the reasons behind this real estate crisis? Record unemployment, Beijing's zero COVID strategy, repeated lockdowns, and continued restrictions have affected incomes and in turn savings and investments. Many young and middle-class Chinese are no longer investing in property. This is likely due to a weak economy, job losses, pay cuts, and the fear that developers might not complete projects. Let me simplify it for you. Like most middle-class people across the world, the Chinese too see property as a safe bet to grow their wealth. The demand for real estate started in the 90s at a lightning speed. Property prices continued to soar, developers kept expanding and making new projects, and banks lent more loans like there's no tomorrow. But one thing that no one paid attention to was the growing mountain of debt. But in 2020, the Chinese authorities pushed the brakes. A crackdown began on giving easy credit to property developers. This led to a cash crunch, unfinished and delayed projects. Remember Evergrande that couldn't pay its debt in 2021? That company also suffered because of this crackdown. Now, last year, home buyers in around 100 cities involving more than 300 housing projects decided to rebel and refuse to pay their mortgage on unfinished homes. I think I forgot to tell you something. In China, real estate firms are allowed to sell homes before completing them, and customers have to start repaying mortgages before they are in possession of their new property. Now, these funds are used to finance construction by the developers. Now, as people are not buying enough homes, developers don't have enough money and therefore they are defaulting on payments. Last month, the People's Bank of China said that it would give developers another 12 months to repay their outstanding loans due this year. The property market in China is so depressed that some banks are resorting to drastic measures. They're allowing people to pay off their loans until they are 95 years old. So what's next? All eyes are on this private company called Country Garden that I spoke about and whether it is able to pay its dues. There's a 30-day grace period. Meanwhile, the Chinese government is firefighting this crisis by extending its support for developers until the end of 2024. It has extended loan repayments to enable developers to complete existing projects. Several cities, including Zhengzhou in central China, have also relaxed purchasing rules to stimulate demand.